Thank you for watching Tamayura Web TV. This is Nakaya Shinichi. Although Shinto is thought to be polytheistic or animistic, I have suggested that it contains monotheistic elements. Today, I would like to discuss that topic in a little more depth. When I say monotheism, obviously this does not mean something resembling the structures we call religion in the sense of Christianity or Islam. It is possible that such groups had influence in ancient times, but Shinto is essentially unrelated, at least superficially, to that sense of religion. Instead, what I would like to talk about is the broadness of the term kami, as used in Shinto. When we talk of kami, are we speaking of a creator god or original god who made the universe? Formally speaking, the word kami does not have the connotation of one god in Shinto. But in the long history of Shinto, it has certainly been argued that there is an original being similar to a creator god. Shinto has no scriptures, but there are two official and traditional books of history which serve as the formal basis of Shinto. These are the documents called the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki. Those of you who have studied Japanese history are probably familiar with them. Beginning with the origin of the world in the age of the kami and discussing how the country which is called Japan took shape, they are important books which record the creation, myth, and achievements of the emperors. The first kami which appears in the beginning of the Kojiki is called Ame no Minaka Nushi no Kami, which literally means Lord of the very center of heaven. The great early modern scholar of ancient Japanese thought, Hirata Atsutane, identified this Ame no Minaka Nushi no Kami with the creator god of the Bible. Meanwhile, the first kami which appears in the Nihon Shoki is called Kunitoko Tachi no Mikoto, which literally means Lord of the foundation of the land. This name will come up again later, so please remember it. Oftentimes, the shrines which honor Kunitoko Tachi no Mikoto are either exceedingly old or so old that nobody remembers when they were built. We can conclude that this kami was revered from very ancient times. There is another book that was held to be of equal importance to the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki up until the Edo period. This is the Kujiki, also known as the Sendai Kujihonki. When we read through the Kujiki, we find that the first kami appearing in it is neither Ame no Minaka Nushi no Kami nor Kunitoko Tachi no Mikoto. Instead, it has the stunningly elaborate name of Ame yuzuru hi ame no sagiri, kuni yuzuru tsuki, kuni no sagiri no Mikoto. This is said to be the original kami who existed when the universe was in a foggy state, before the world was split into heaven and earth. That is, when the universe was a harmonious whole. So Japan also has the idea that everything began from that point. The most highest ranking shrine in Japan is Ise Jingu in Mie Prefecture. There are many sub-shrines and auxiliary shrines at Ise Jingu, but the two principal ones are the Naiku, the inner shrine, and the Geku, the outer shrine. Within the Naiku is enshrined Amaterasu o Mikami, the ancestor of the imperial household. The kami enshrined in the Geku is Toyouke o Mikami, who is said to manage the meals of Amaterasu o Mikami. Many mysteries surround this Toyouke o Mikami, and her or his background is the subject of the debate which goes back to ancient times. The Watarai family, who controlled the position of head priest at the Geku for many generations, began to expound a theory in the 14th century that the kami enshrined in the Geku was one and the same with Ame no Minakanushi no Kami, Kunitokotachi no Mikoto, and Ame yuzuru hi, Ame no sagiri, Kuni yuzuru tsuki, Kuni no sagiri no Mikoto. In other words, they were claiming that she or he was equal to the primeval kami mentioned at the beginning of the Kojiki, Nihon Shoki, and the Kujiki. But making that claim, they made out the Geku to be more important than the Naiku, where the ancestor of the imperial family is enshrined. Because of this, for some time a violent dispute broke out between the Naiku and the Geku. I won't get too deeply into this, but there is this theory, which is very old, that sees the true form of the deity enshrined in the Geku as the creator god, that is, Jehovah. Obviously, there is no proof for this claim, only rumors. In summary, even at Ise Jingu, which has the most formal ceremonies in Japan, there have been debates over the identity of enshrined kami and theories that the true form of the kami might be the creator god. However, when state Shinto was instituted after the Meiji Restoration, the hereditary shrine-keeping jobs of families like the Watarais were abolished, and a centralized and unified opinion arose about enshrined kami. So the debate finally came to an end. Now let's talk about a slightly different but very interesting subject. Among the over 80,000 shrines in Japan, the most frequently enshrined figure is Inari. Perhaps half of all the shrines in Japan, around 40,000, are devoted to Inari. The kami Inari is usually thought to be a fox spirit, but this is incorrect. The first people in Japan to worship Inari were the Hata clan, who I spoke about last time. The Hata were an immigrant clan who believed in a monotheistic religion called Keikyo. This is usually translated as Nestorian Christianity, but if we look back to its roots, we find ourselves in the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi Arabia's Mecca, the most sacred site in Islam, has a place of worship called the Kaaba. When Muslims make pilgrimage to Mecca, they circle the Kaaba several times. According to tradition, after Noah's flood, but before the Kaaba was built, there was a brightly shining dome in this place. The name of this shining dome is said to have sounded like Inari. In Arabic, this means that which gives off light. On one hand, this could be sheer coincidence. But the prevailing theory is that the Bible was written in the Middle East, so the fact that the Hata clan, whose roots began in the Middle East, came across the continent and finally to Japan and worshipped Inari here. This is all rather mysterious to me. If this happens to be true, that means that half of all of the shrines in Japan have a connection to the Creator God. So, I'd like to know, what do you, the viewer, think about all this? This episode may have been a little difficult to understand, but if anyone enjoyed watching it, I'll be very glad to hear it. I hope you will look forward to the next installment.